Hello and welcome to More Math Homework Help. I am Miss Moore and I am here to help you solve one problem at a time. I am so excited tonight. So if you are new here, the way it works is that every Wednesday night, I am here for you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you need help with math homework, join me live, just fill out the form, submit your questions. Also, as you're watching, at any moment, if you have a homework question or something you're struggling with in math, go ahead and complete that form. It is in the description of this video. So I am here to help you. If you submit the form early enough, then you are able to join me live. And today we have a special guest who will be able to join me live. So I'm so excited for that. All right. So our first guest submitted her questions. And so this is going to be all about algebra. So let's do it. All right. Hello, guest.
Hi. All about algebra. I love it.
So first things first, all right. So here's the question, guys. So they want us to solve for R. And the question is 20 divided by 2 equals 14 plus 20 minus R. Okay. So tell me what the goal is. At the end of the day, what do we want?
So we want to know what R stands for.
Right. So at the end, we want to have something that says R equals something. Okay. So now what's in my way right now that's keeping me from being able to say what R equals?
Pretty much that entire equation.
Right.
Everything before the R.
Okay. So last week, we talked about an equation being like a balance beam, right? So the left side of the equation should balance with the right side of the equation. If something happens to the left, in order to keep it balanced, we have to do something to the right. So right now, the equation is balanced. However, as you just said, there's some stuff on this right side of the equation that's keeping me from being able to say R equals this number. Okay, so the biggest thing right now that you have to know is the order of operation. So sometime in middle school, elementary school, you might have learned something called PEMDAS. Did you learn that?
I did, yes.
Okay, awesome. So what did that stand for? What does it stand for?
So parentheses,
Mm-hmm.
exponents,
Mm-hmm.
multiplication, division,
Good.
addition, subtraction.
Good. Okay. Now, one thing to note, a lot of students were taught wrong when it came to PEMDAS, okay? So a lot of students forget that multiplication and division are equal. I mean, you probably knew that, but a lot of students forget that they are equal. So it's whatever shows up from left to right, okay? That's what we do. Now, as you're looking at this, because we have a whole bunch to work with, so before we can do anything, we need to simplify this expression.
Okay.
So which of these do I need to do first in the order of PEMDAS to make this look a little bit prettier?
Okay, so we don't have anything in parentheses.
Good.
Don't have any exponents.
Mm-hmm.
So we've moved on to multiplication and division. We don't have any division, so we don't have any multiplication.
Uh-huh.
So division would happen first because
Okay.
you would need to divide the 20 by 2. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You knew that. Say it with confidence. Okay.
I totally knew that. I knew that.
Okay. So what in here let you know that this was division?
It was because the line, so the 20 with the line above the 2.
Good. It's the fraction bar. Something I learned recently from TikTok is that
Love it.
the division symbol is actually a fraction bar, and the dots replace the numerator and the denominator. Right? That's what I said. I was like, oh my gosh. Right? So cool. So the fraction bar always represented division. Always. I was like, mind blown. It's always
the things you learn.
Right? So that fraction bar lets us know it is division. So what is 20 divided by 2?
10.
Good. And you told me oops, I'm writing 10 because you said it. You told me you couldn't do math. So here we go.
Right.
You do know some math. You see that?
I know something.
Exactly. So we just did division. Okay. Cross that off.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You said there was no multiplication or exponent. So
right.
Now, do we have addition or subtraction?
Yes, we have addition.
Good. Which one? So is that all you see? Addition?
There's subtraction because you have to take the R away, but we don't know what R is, so we don't know how much to take away. Okay.
So now we know that addition and subtraction are equal.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to know which shows up first. So which is showing up first?
The addition.
Good. So what two numbers are you going to add together?
14 and 20.
And what is that?
34.
Awesome. We're almost done.
Look at that.
I know. So you can do this 2 different ways. You tell me what way you think we should solve. So at this point, we have a one-step equation. This looks a whole lot prettier than what we started with.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
so now, how should you solve this?
Okay. So you need to find out what R equals. So do you have to get rid of the 34 because it's on the same side as the R and you need R to be by itself?
Do you?
Well, Ms. Moore, I don't know. Do you? That is what my next step would be. My next step would be to take 34 away from both sides. So 34 away from 34 and 34 away from 10.
Awesome. Okay. So you knew exactly what to do. It's just a matter of confidence, but you knew exactly what to do. So what's 34 minus 34?
0.
Okay. So we cross that off. We have a negative R on the left. All right. Now 10 minus 34. What do we need to do?
Okay. So these are those negative numbers that I don't like. So I think that the easiest way to do it would be to subtract 10 from 34, right?
Good.
And whatever you have left would be 24. So but it would still be negative, right?
Awesome. Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah. So think about like I got $10 in my account. I try to take out 34. How much do I owe the bank? Right. So I'm owing the bank $24. That is a negative thing. Right. So we have negative 24 equals negative R.
Okay.
Are we done?
I think we are because we know what R equals. Oh, no, because R is negative here and it's not negative there.
Good. So I have negative R equals negative 24. So what does R equal?
Would it just be 24?
And why would that be?
Because if negative r is negative 24, then the opposite of negative r would be r. And so the opposite of negative 24 would be 24.
That's what I'm talking about. Good.
Look at that.
Do you see how much you know?
Oh my gosh.
You just solved that whole problem. You didn't even need me.
I need you.
But it started with just simplifying it because it looked like a lot, right? At the very beginning.
Yes.
It looks like a whole lot. It's very scary. There's all these symbols and operations and all the things. But when you take it one step at a time, then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute. Okay, I simplified it. Now I got down to my one-step equation. And then you knew exactly what to do. I got to get rid of this 34, bring down that minus r. You knew what 10 minus 34 was, and you figured it out. You were like, hold on, I'm not done yet. The opposite of negative r is r. So if negative r is negative 24, then r is 24. Awesome job. You did great.
Yay. It's those steps that really helps, because I look at it when it's all laid out like it is in the beginning, like my brain wants to shut off. But when you break it up into steps like that, it makes sense, and then I can work through it. It's almost like I have to get past that initial freak out.
Exactly. All right. Hello. Okay, it says potato. He said my mom sent me this link. Well, hello. So if you have a homework question at any time, you could submit the form in the link in my bio in the description of this video. So if you have any homework questions, go ahead and complete that form, and then I could help you out. All right, let's keep going because you had some more questions. And so as if you have a question, Potato, let me know. You could either type it here in the comments, or you can fill out that form and I'll help you out. All right, so this one is just like we did. So I want you to tell me exactly what you should do. Okay.
So, all right, let me look at this. Okay, so we need to, we're going to solve for D. And so we've got 10, we've got D on the left side. And so we need to do our order of operations first.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to start with, again, we don't have any parentheses. We don't have any exponents.
Good.
But we do have, let's see, we don't have multiplication, but we have, oh, we do, no. Is that 18 minus 3 or 18 times 3, D, at the end?
You tell me, what's this dot mean?
Oh, there we go. That's multiplication. Okay.
Okay.
I was looking at my phone and it was small. So, okay. So that is multiplication. So we would need to multiply 18 by 3. D.
Okay. Now, what else do you see?
I see division.
Okay.
Oh, but the division is first from left to right. So we need to do the division first.
Awesome.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. All making sense. Paying attention to things. I love it.
So tell me, what do you have? I love it. So 24 divided by 6 is?
That is 4.
Good. Now what do we do?
Okay, so now we know that that's 4. And then we would do the multiplication next.
Okay.
So is it negative 18 times 3D? It would be, because it has a negative in front of it. So it's not 4 minus something, it's 4 negative something, right?
4.
So I'm looking at the
both are true. So if you want to just you can multiply, we just bring down that negative, or if you want to see this as a negative 18, it's still a negative times a positive, so it still will end up as a minus. So either way, yeah.
So you do 18 times 3, and that is so math.
8 times 3.
That is 24.
Good.
Yeah. And then so 4, and 5. So 54.
Awesome. Good. Okay. 54 what?
So that is 54D because I have the 3. So you always have to add your variable.
Good.
Look at us. Okay. we're doing this. This is good. Okay. So we're good on that side. So then we have 10 minus D equals 4 minus 54D. But, okay, we have to do some other things. We're not done yet, right?
Good.
Because we have a 10 with the D on the left side. And we've got 4 minus 54D over here. So, okay. Now, this is a question I have. Does it matter from which side I start working? So,
no.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, so I need to get rid of the 10. So the D is by itself. So I would subtract 10 from 10.
Okay.
And I would subtract 10 from, this is where I get a little confused because there's 2 numbers over here. I think I would subtract 10 from the 4.
Why?
Because it looks like it wants me to take it away from I'm gonna say this is my logic. This is what I'm thinking about. I think it's because there is no variable attached to it. So
yes.
So that's why I would do it that way, because because there's no variable on the 10, so there's no variable on the 4, so I would take it away from the 4.
Excellent. So yes. Okay. So the only way you could combine that 10 with the 54 is if that 10 had a D next to it. So great job. Your instincts are great.
Woo,
trust them.
All right. we're
so now what?
And so that takes away the 10 because the 10 minus 10 is 0. So you would bring the D down, and then you have 4 minus 10, which would be negative.
So wait, what am I doing with the D?
Oh, you're bringing it down underneath the line because we're gonna.
So how do I write that?
Oh, it would be negative D.
Okay.
And then equals.
Good.
Okay. And then 4 minus 10 would be negative 6.
Good.
Okay. Minus 54D.
Okay.
Or negative 54D.
Good.
Okay. All right. So we're still not done, but we're getting closer.
Yes.
I'm still feeling better. Okay. Now. Okay. So we need to get rid of the negative 6 because, or do we need to get rid of the, no. Okay. Let me think this one through.
Okay.
So we have the negative D on the one side. And we have negative 6 and negative 54D. And we need to find out what D equals.
Right.
So somehow I feel like we need to get rid of the 6 and the 54.
Okay. Which one would help us?
I think if we got rid of the 54, because then that would just leave us with the negative 6.
Awesome. Okay. So the goal is always to get your D's on one side, all your variables on one side, and all of your constants or your numbers on the other.
Right. Okay.
So, but see, listen, your instincts are great. Okay. You just have to trust yourself a little bit more, but your instincts are really, really good. Okay. So you know them. You're just like, I think I should.
I think I should do this. I always second guess myself because apparently I think if I do the wrong thing, like I'm going to end math entirely for everyone or something. So
oh my God.
That's
all right. So
the end
now
of
what do I do?
Okay, so now we're adding 54D to negative D, which would be negative 1D, but we're not writing the 1.
You can.
Okay, so the answer to that would be 53D.
Good.
Equals -6 because the 54D minus or plus 54D is 0.
Awesome.
Yay,
Okay.
look at that. Okay.
Are we done? Now listen, now this is one of those problems where you do all of this work and you're like, whew, I'm done. But we have not solved for D yet. Okay.
Right.
So I want you to notice how I'm setting up my work. Okay. So that we're taking it one step at a time so that it doesn't get jumbled and confusing. It's very clear. And if you want to, use highlighters to keep track of like what you're doing. So you see how I'm using different colors?
Uh-huh.
If that helps you, do that so that you can keep track of, okay, now what did I just do? And what do I still need to do? You see that? Okay, so we're almost there. Now what?
Okay, so now we have to get rid of the 53 from the D so that the D is by itself.
Good.
And you do that because 53 and D next to each other mean multiplication.
Good.
So you would do that by dividing 53D by 53. And then, because I remember you have to balance your equation, you would divide -6 by 53. And I would have no idea what that answer would be.
Okay, so what happens on the left side?
So on the left side, it just becomes D. It's just the letter D because the 53 divided by 53 is just D. It's 1.
Okay, so we end up with 3D equals -6 over 53.
Okay.
That is your answer.
Oh,
okay. So if I know it looks ugly, so you're like, oh no, I have to do more. No, leave it.
Just leave it alone. Okay. Just stop trying.
Yeah, just leave it alone. Unless it's like an improper fraction and it was like 53 over 6.
Okay.
You still technically could leave it alone, or you can just divide it this way. Okay. But you don't have to go further unless they say like in simplest form.
Okay.
But if they don't say anything about, and this actually is in simplest form, but unless they say like put it in simplest form or make it a mixed number or write it to the nearest 10th, then if they say write it to the nearest 10th, you know they're looking for a decimal. But 9 times out of 10, you know, you can leave it like that and you're good. Okay. But see how, so this was like very long, right? But you knew exactly what to do. So we started, let me see, do I have a color I haven't used? All right. So we started here. Okay. It was super ugly. Okay. We got it down to, say it again.
I said it was a lot.
It was. But, so I understand why it's like, I need help because there's a whole lot going on. Right? So then we went from that beginning to this second step, which was like, okay, it's getting a little bit prettier, right?
Right.
Then we said, all right, I need to get rid of that 10. So we got it down to here. Then we moved the -54. We got down to this point. Okay, so there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get to that, which is a lot. So this is what we call a multi-step equation because it is insane. It is insane. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I see we have another question. So what I'm going to do, let me take a look at it real quick. Okay, so we have 30. What number? 30% of what number is 1.5 using a T-chart? Okay. All right. Tell me if you have the live stream. Oh, there you are. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to pause you for right now. You're doing great work. Now, what I want you to do right now is try the third one. See how far you get. Try the third one, trusting your instincts. Okay. And then I'm going to bring you back on to see how you did with that number 3. Okay. Awesome.
Sounds good. All right. I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay. All right. So now we have another guest on. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So you just submitted a form, correct? So it was. Go ahead. So what was the problem? Tell me again the problem.
33% of what number is 1.45?
Okay. 33% of what number is 1.45? Okay. Now, okay, your T chart. So teachers teach this very differently. I'm already thinking of 3 different ways to show you this. Okay. So the T chart, I'm going to assume, is that part over whole equals percent over 100?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't know how they set it up. So this is what I teach my students. I actually taught them this recently. So percent over 100 equals part over whole. So is that
That's what it looks like.
the T chart, or did it look different? So a T chart is usually like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did they make it like, did they write the word percent? What did they put in these 4 areas?
They didn't put anything. They just gave me the problem and just left me to work with that.
Oh, no. Okay. So let's start here. First of all, let me just say I taught 7th grade for 6 years, and it is my absolute favorite grade to teach. So you are in good hands. All right. So first things first, a percent. Tell me what these words mean, because we're going to break it down. Okay.
A percent is part of 100.
Good. Okay. So cent, century, good. It is a number out of, right, 100. Perfect. So how would you write 33% as a fraction?
33 over 100.
Awesome. Okay. So we already have the left side. Okay. 33% is 33 over 100. So now 33 is my percent. That was the easiest to identify because there's a percent sign. Now, 33%, is that the whole amount or part of it?
Part of it.
It's part of it, right? And is that more or less than half of something?
It's less.
Okay, so it's less than half, right? So I'm taking a percent of some number, right? Is that number that I'm taking a piece of, is that going to be the part, or do you think that's the whole? Do I take 33% of the whole amount, or am I taking 33% of a part of something?
33% of the whole number.
Good. Okay. So, oh, there it is. I'm taking 33%.
No, you're not sitting in here.
Of the whole amount. Okay. So this is the whole. Now this says of what number? So do I know what this number is?
No.
And if I don't know what the number is and it's unknown to me, what do I put?
You put a variable.
Good. Okay. We could just put X. It doesn't matter. Okay. So now I have the percent. I have percent's a number out of 100, right? So we have this whole side. We don't know the whole, so we put an X. That means, what's this right here?
That's the part.
That's the part. Okay. So we write the part as the numerator. Okay. So the equation or the fraction is, you have your percent over 100. and that equals your part over whole, right? 33 is just that small piece of something. 100 is the whole amount. So 100 goes with the whole, and the part goes with the percent because we're always taking a piece of something, a part of something. All right. So now how would you solve this? Do you know what this is called? Two equal fractions or two equal ratios. Did y'all learn that yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. So this is what we call a proportion. Okay, it's just a fancy word, but it just means two equal ratios. Okay, or two equal fractions. Okay, ratios are fractions. All right, so two equal fractions. So I'm going to show you one way to solve this. Okay, so we cross multiply. 33 times x is what?
33x.
Good. 100 times 1.45.
145.
Good. Listen, you got that quick. All right. It is 145. Now, how do I solve for x?
Isolate the variable.
Good. What are you going to do to isolate the variable?
Divide 30. You put 33x over 33.
Good.
That'll get the x by itself because it cancels out the 33.
Awesome. And what else?
You have to do the same thing to the 145.
Excellent. Okay. Does your teacher allow you to use calculator for this?
No.
Okay. So how would you solve?
You divide them.
What goes in the house?
The 145 goes inside the house and the 33 stays on the outside.
Awesome. Okay. So I want you to take some time and tell me how many times does 33 go into 145? Do it here.
4 times?
Yes. Okay. So the way I like to teach my student, and tell me what you get. 33 times 4 was what?
132.
Good. Okay. So are we done?
No.
What do I need to do?
Put a decimal point behind the 4.
Good.
And add a 0 to continue the equation.
Okay, so I'm going to put it behind the 4. Where else am I going to put the decimal?
Behind the 5 inside the house.
Awesome. Okay, so a lot of times when we divide, I teach my students to put the numerator in the house and make it look like money. Okay, so that it's already set up just in case you are going to need those 2 zeros. All right, so 33 goes into 130 how many times? How many times does 33 go into 130?
3.
Good. So we have 130 minus 99. Okay. What are you going to get? 10 minus 9?
1.
Good. 12 minus 9?
3.
Awesome. Okay, what do I need to do now?
You bring the next 0 down.
Good. Okay, so now how many times does 33 go into 310? We're almost done because you're going to see something.
9 times.
Good. You got that fast. Okay, so 33 times 9?
270.
200, not 70. So 30 times 9 is 270. So 3 times 9 is?
3 times 9 is 9.
No, 3 times 9.
3 times
3 times
9.
9 is 27.
Good.
Yeah.
And we know, so you just said the same thing. 27 plus 2.
27 plus 2 is 29.
Good.
That's
Okay.
290.
Awesome. Okay. And if ever you do that, because you knew that 30 times 9 was 270, right? Then just do 3 times 9, which you knew was 27. Sorry, I put 29, which you knew is 27, and you could just add it together. So if you wanted to do it in your head like that, you can just, you know 3 times 9. So you could have just done it, okay? But I was just showing you another way. Okay, so 310 minus 297 is 10 minus 7.
3.
10 minus 9.
1.
Okay, we add another 0 and watch this. We get back to 130. So what kind of decimal is this? Because then we would do 3 again and 99. And then we'd have 310 again. What's happening? And then we would put a 9. What keeps happening?
It's repeating, so it's a repeating decimal.
Awesome. What's repeating?
The 39.
Good. Okay. So, awesome. So x equals 4.39 repeating. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
now let me show you. Do you have another problem similar to that?
You?
In your homework, do you have another problem similar to that?
Huh?
No, I just needed help figuring out how to do it.
Okay, so I just want to make sure you got it. So I'm just going to give you something similar, okay, real quick. 42 is what percent
You can't do that problem. That's not a problem.
of
I know what you're writing on.
of 80? Okay, so let me give you the formula again. Okay, and write this down somewhere because it's going to help you with these percent problems. Okay, so now, first things first, do I have the percent? Do you see anything with the percent sign?
80%.
Okay, so it says 42 is what percent of 80? So does the 80 have a percent sign next to it?
No.
No. So remember that other one said 33% of what number, right? So there was a percent sign next to the percent. So the percent's always going to be the easiest to discover because it has a percent sign. But this says what percent? That means what? What am I going to put here?
X.
Good. All right. Now, I always take a percent of the whole amount. Which one is the whole amount? Which one am I taking a percent of?
80.
Good. All right. So of 80, this is our whole. And what's our part? Because I'm taking some piece of 80 and I get what?
42.
Excellent. Okay. Now, do you remember how to solve it when we have a proportion? What do we do at this point?
Cross multiply.
Excellent. Listen, you catch on to things fast. And you know what? I know you're a star math student. You know how I know? Because of your math language, right? You said isolate the variable. You knew exactly like the language I was looking for. You knew that you would put a variable in the unknown. You know a lot of math, so I can tell that. Now, what's x times 80?
Thank you. And x times 80 is 80x.
Awesome. And 100 times 42?
4,200.
Good. First of all, that's impressive. I was impressed when you did 1.45 times 100. I was like, what? Most of my most of my seventh graders couldn't do that. Okay, so 80x equals 4,200. What are we going to do now?
Isolate the variable and get the x by itself.
Okay, so what am I going to do with this 80?
Put it over 80.
Good.
Which turns it into 1, and you do the same for the 4,200.
All right, so solve it for me and tell me what you get. Okay, I made this one up off the top of my head, so it's not an ugly one like the last one, but you will get a decimal, just to let you know. You are doing awesome. All right, tell me what you're getting.
$52.5.
Okay, and what were we trying to find? 52.5 what?
Percent.
Awesome. Okay, so the only time you have to put percent in your answer is if it said like what percent. Okay, so you're gonna go to class. Everybody's gonna be like, I had no idea what to do with this problem, and you're gonna be like, guys, hold on. Okay, here's the formula: percent over 100 equals part over whole. You got a proportion. Here's the part. Here's the whole. We got to find the percent, guys. So this is what we do. We're going to put X. We're going to cross multiply. And they're going to be like, what? How did you know how to do this? You know? So, but you did excellent. The fact that you remembered how to set it up, you were able to identify the whole, you were able to identify the part. You did amazing. Kudos to you. You're welcome. Let me know if you need help with anything else. You can pop back on if you need to. But was that helpful?
Yes, very much.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming on. All right. That was awesome. Okay, so I'm going to. Good. All right, so I'm going to circle back to our first guest, and I want you to tell me, how did number 3 go?
Okay, so I think I figured it out.
Okay.
So on this one, it was the C divided by D equals D divided by E plus E divided by D, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, it was.
Okay.
So first thing I will say is that this actually was different from the first two. So I want to see, let me write it down for those who are viewing this. D over E plus E over D. And then we said D equals 2 and E equals 4. All right. So tell me what you did.
Okay, so this is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, I plugged in everything I knew.
Good.
So I changed, so the first fraction, I changed it to C over 2.
Good.
And then equals 2 over 4.
Good.
plus 4 over 2.
Good.
So, okay, so then looking at it and thinking about the order of operations, the first thing I needed to do was my division, which the fractions are division. So
Okay.
I obviously don't know what C divided by 2 is because I don't know what C is. So I wrote down C divided by 2 equals. Then I divided 2 by 4, which was 0.5.
Okay.
And then plus, and then I divided 4 by 2, which is 2. So now I'm going to do my addition.
Okay.
So C over 2 equals 2.5.
Okay.
So now I have this, and I still don't know what C equals.
Okay.
So here's what I did. And I don't know if it's the right
Tell me.
This is what I did. I multiplied 2.5 by 2. And that was 5. So I determined that C equals 5 because 5 divided by 2 equals 2.5.
Okay. So good. I was trying to follow. Okay. So you multiplied 2 on the right side. What were you supposed to do on the left side?
Oh, multiply by 2.
Right. I mean, you essentially did that because you did similar to what we did before, right? You were like negative R equals something, so R must equal the opposite, right? So you knew half of C was 2.5. So what divided by 2 equals 2.5, and then you said C, right? But all right, so that was great. You got to C equals 5. Awesome. Okay. If you prefer that way, stick with it. Now, let me just show you. Now, most students, they don't like fractions, right? So you, which is fine. So if you like the way you did it, stick with it. You got the right answer. That's fine. I am going to show you. You can get to it a little bit faster. Okay.
Good.
So, so 2/4. Can I reduce this fraction?
Yes.
Okay. So what can we reduce it?
So you can make that 1/2.
1/2. Okay. So we have 1/2 plus 4/2 equals what? 1 plus 4?
5.
5. So C over 2, or C halves, equals 5/2. Okay, my 2's are the same. That means C equals. You see it?
I do.
So you get there a little bit faster without having to do 2 divided by 4 and all of that. But like I said, you absolutely can do it how you want to. I just wanted to show you another way. Now, let's say this was a little bit uglier. I want you to get comfortable doing it this way, just in case they throw something at you like this.
Yes.
Right? Because, where you have to divide and you're going to get an ugly decimal, which is not going to give you an accurate answer because you can't put an infinite amount of 6s, right? So you're going to have to know how to do this. So let's erase this. Now, let's say it looked like this. Okay. So 2/3 plus 4/2. 2/3 plus 4/2.
Okay. So that would be 6/5.
Okay. So let's review so here's something, right? Fractions. Everybody hates them. Not everybody, but most students.
Let's review our fractions.
Okay. So with adding fractions, we need a common denominator.
That's right.
Okay. So the way we can find our common denominator is by counting by that number. Okay. So count by 3. Always start with the bigger number.
Yes. So you go 3, 6, and 2 goes into 6. So that would be the common denominator. Yes.
Good. Okay. Awesome. So 6 is our common denominator. last week I taught that to find a common denominator, you could multiply the two denominators. Sometimes that works. Like in this case, sometimes it's just more of a headache at the end. So, whatever's easier for you. So 2 times 3 is 6. And then what do we do to the 4?
So then you have to multiply that by 3 as well.
Good.
Right?
And what do you get?
That's 12.
Awesome.
And then up at the top, you have to multiply 3 by 2 to get 6.
Good.
So you multiply the 2 by 2 to get 4.
Okay. And then what do we get?
And so then you would have 16 sixths.
Good. Okay. Now watch this. C over 2 equals 16 sixths. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, let me teach you how to make your life very simple.
Please do.
Okay.
Please.
So these are 2 equal fractions.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing you did right here when you had 2 equal fractions. Oops.
Okay.
16 sixths. Okay. So 2 times what equals 6?
3.
3. Okay. So something times 3 equals 16. Okay. So something times 3 equals 16. Right? And so what would we do to solve?
So you would really just have to divide 16 by 3.
Yeah. Okay. And so C equals 16 thirds, or C equals 5 1/3. And you could leave it. Okay. Sure. I just made this up off the top of my head, so that's why it was ugly. But I just wanted to kind of put that little bug in your ear. I don't know what the word is. Bird.
Yes.
Bug, bird, sense. Whatever. Yeah. In your ear. To just in case they throw a fraction that's not as simple as 1/2 and 2 in there. I just want to make sure you know your fraction rules so that you're good. And it still worked out, right? We could now, let's say it didn't work out. Let's say it was like this, right? Mm-hmm. With a 5. Okay. Now 2 times, it doesn't really go in evenly. Mm-hmm. Right? So you could very well just multiply both sides by 2, like we've been doing, to get rid of this division. Or if you were following me with our second guess, you can cross multiply. Okay. Okay. And you would get 5C equals 32. And then either way you do it, you're going to get 32 fifths. So that part doesn't matter. But I just wanted to make sure you were good with that. But awesome. You knew exactly that. They say evaluating the expressions, right? So you knew that you were, you knew that you had to plug in the numbers, right? Replace those letters with the numbers they gave you. And then you were able to figure out how to get to the right answer. Okay. So that's when we go back to trusting your instincts. Your instincts are great. You absolutely know how to do math. Again, this looked very, very, very ugly. Look at where we started. There were all these letters with the C and the D and the E. It was a mess, right? But out of all of that, you plugged in those numbers that they gave you, and you were able to get to C equals 5. You see that? Yay! You should be proud of yourself. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, just about a minute, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to help you with 4 and 5, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
All righty. You're welcome. Okay. Okay, I just realized my mic was muted. Hello and welcome back to more of More Math Homework Help. I hope that you have been enjoying the show. We have helped 2 people so far. I'm so happy they're doing so great. I absolutely love doing this and helping you solve one problem at a time. If at any point you have a homework question, complete the form in the description of this video. If you are part of the Rewatch Gang, hello, happy to have you. We are here every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. I am here to help you with your math homework. So go ahead. If you missed it this time and you're watching the replay, don't worry, I will be back the following Wednesday. So go ahead and submit those forms before 7 p.m. so that you can join us on the live stream. If you submit it during the live stream, I will still take your question. You would just have to use the chat. Okay, so we're going to bring our first guest back on because she's doing so great. And she has a couple of more questions, which is awesome. That's what I'm here for. So, as I told you at the beginning, this is all about algebra. I am so happy because I teach middle school math. And so any opportunity that I get to teach high school level or college is so much fun to me. So I am truly enjoying myself. Okay, so here we go. We are back. Let me bring our guest back. Awesome. And now I'm going to share my screen again, and here we go. All right, so our next question, here it is. Okay, so now we move away from solving for the equation, evaluating the expression. We move to simplifying the expression. Okay. So for our viewers, what makes this an expression is the fact that there's no equal sign, right? We're not going to end up with X equals something or K equals something or L equals something, okay? It's going to look very ugly, okay? We're just going to be left with these letters, okay? So that's why most students struggle with this, because it's very, very ugly. Okay, there's no neat, pretty answer here. It's just a lot of stuff, right?
It is
All
ugly.
right.
I'm glad you get that.
It is. It's very ugly. Okay, like this, we start this in about 6th grade, where students are doing exactly this. They're learning how to combine like terms. We build off of it in 7th grade. And it just keeps showing up, and it just gets uglier and uglier and longer and longer. That's just what happens. Okay, so we've got a lot of operations here. So again, we don't, it's one of those things that stay with us. PEMDAS, fractions, simplifying expressions, solving. We just can't get rid of it. It just keeps showing up. Every math we take, it shows, So
You think you can get away from it, and it just
not at all
back.
So tell me all of the operations you see. Okay.
Okay. So we have multiplication. Well, okay, we'll start from the top. So we
Mhm.
have parentheses.
Okay. Now, first things first, can I combine anything in my parentheses?
You can, because they have the same variable,
Awesome. Okay, so K plus 2K.
3K.
Good. Okay. What's here next to this K, even though I don't see it?
A 1.
Good. Okay, so 1 plus 2, as you said, was 3. All right. Done
Okay.
with the parentheses. All right, let's bring all this down. All right. So now, what do you see?
Okay. So we don't have any exponents,
Good.
but we do have multiplication.
Okay. What am I multiplying?
Okay. So starting from the left,
Mhm.
we're multiplying 6 by K, but we don't know what that is. So then we're multiplying. Okay. So we're multiplying 3 by L, but we don't know what that is because we don't know what L is. And then we're multiplying 3 by K inside the parentheses, but we don't know what that is. And we're multiplying 2 by K, but we don't know what that is. So I'm coming back to the 3L because it is
Okay.
outside of, but next to the parentheses.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that 3L is supposed to multiply that 3K.
I
But it
love your feelings because they're
Oh,
always
see, yay.
right. I just feel like you know
I'm
this.
so
you know?
feeling. I'm like, just intuitively, I think we're supposed to do that.
I told you. So 3L times 3K is what?
Can we do that? Because
Yep.
they have different variables. Will it allow me to do that to it?
So that's an awesome question. When it's multiplication, you can do that.
Okay.
If it's what do you call it? Addition or subtraction, you cannot. Okay. So multiplication and division, no, really just multiplication. Multiplication you can combine. Actually, I'm lying. You could do division too. So multiplication and division has its own set of rules. You can combine them, but addition and subtraction, no.
Okay. So would it? Okay. So 3 times 3 is 9.
Mhm.
Which okay, great. But then does it become 9LK?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Look at that. All
It
right.
almost looks like milk, except for
It does. It does.
we need the M and I. But okay. Are we done? Have we simplified this as far as we could go?
No,
Okay.
I feel like we have not, and here's the reason why. We still have numbers that have the same variable. So the 6K and the 2K have the same variable.
Awesome.
So I'm going to be confident. You would
Okay.
subtract 2K from 6K,
Awesome.
and that would be 4K. So the answer would be 4K plus 9LK, because you can't add 4K to 9LK because they have different variables, and you can't add different variables, but you can multiply or divide different variables. Miss Moore taught me that.
You better say it. You better talk that math language.
Look at that.
Yes. See what happened when you got confident? Listen.
I'm over here learning stuff.
Okay. Look at you. And that's it. Okay.
Look at that.
That's it. Now look how prettier, it's still ugly. It's still ugly. It's
ugly.
But
it's prettier than when we started.
It is. Look at this mess that we started with. And then we ended up here. So pretty. Neat little bow,
Oh my gosh, look at that.
You see? So I don't think they'd make you factor out a K. That would be silly. I was just going to say, I don't think they would make you do this. But you could factor out a K, but don't do that. But this is your answer.
Just pretend you didn't see that.
Right. Just focus on what you did. But great job. This was difficult.
This was a real struggle for me because nobody explain to me until tonight that you can combine variables when you're multiplying and subtracting, or when you're multiplying and dividing. So that one was really throwing me. But now I know.
See?
Light
Now
bulb.
let me explain why you can do that, right? Because, all right. So let's say you have 2k plus 2k plus 2k. How many k's is that?
That's 6 Ks.
Okay. So I could add them up together like this, or I can do 2k times 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't that the same thing?
Yes.
So multiplication is really me just adding these all together.
Right.
Okay, so that's why with multiplication, we can combine everything together. So if it was 2k times 3k, right? 2
Right.
times 3 is still 6. What is k times k?
Oh, so that would...
What's k times k? Well, watch this. 2 times 2 is 2 squared. 5 times 5 is 5 squared. K times k is
K squared.
There you go. Okay. So we're still saying it's k times k, right?
Right.
Just like in that last example where we had an L, right? We're saying 2 times 3, which is 6, and k times L, which is k times L. And we just write it as KL, but we know that that means k times L.
Oh,
okay,
sure.
and actually the mean.
Okay. Yeah,
You
because
see?
they're next to each other, so that means multiplication. So, okay.
Yep. So we're still just saying k, we have to do k times L. We just eliminate the parentheses.
Right.
Okay. And I teach my students side by side, we multiply. Okay.
Yes.
So they're side by side. We're still multiplying 6 times k times L, which you knew, right? But when we're adding, we're saying, all right, I'm taking 2k, I'm adding it to another 2k, but I can't just do 2k plus 2L. That's not going to work.
Because that would be like apples and oranges.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, you remember my example from last week. Good job. Somebody was listening. And listen, the other thing is not only were you listening, but you retained that information, which was great. Okay.
I did. And it was useful during the week. It made my assignments through the week make so much more sense. It was really good.
Nice. All right. So let's do, I wrote number 4, but that was number 5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So for those who are watching, if at any point you do have a question, you can fill out the form in the link in the description of this video. It says submit questions here. You can come live with us, or you can just respond in the chat. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep going with our special student guest. All right. So number 5. All right. So I want you to try number 5. I want you to simplify this expression. So now that you know what you can combine and what you can't combine, this should be a lot easier for you. Okay. And remember, trust yourself.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm going to work on this. Okay. So first I have to do the things that are in the parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a bunch of U's here, so I'm going to work with those first. So 1 U plus 2 U's plus 5 U's, that's 8 U's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 8 U's and a T.
Mm-hmm.
There's a T in there.
Good.
So 10, and then in the parentheses would be 8U plus T.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't add them together because that don't work.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would multiply the 8 by the 10, which would be 80. U plus, plus looks like that, I'm writing it out in a notebook while we're doing this. And I accidentally drew a T instead of a plus sign. So 80U plus, and then it would be 10T. So 80U plus 10T?
Yeah.
How did that just become so easy?
I don't know. Because you started trusting yourself.
You taught me. That's what made it so easy. That one.
You had it though.
Wow.
And here's the thing. A lot of times we don't like to use the letter T because it gets so confusing with the plus sign. So a lot of times as a math teacher, I avoid the letter T just for that reason. But yeah, sometimes you will see it. Usually they try to put a little like thing on it like that to help you not get confused, but they should just avoid it altogether. But
there's many other letters they can choose from.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but yes, you did it.
Oh my gosh, wow. That makes sense.
See? Huh. All right. So I ain't gonna lie to you. This number 6. All right. So you did great with this one. I knew you were able to do this one after I saw you do the 4th one. So now let's try number 6. Okay. But you're doing great.
This one's a hot mess.
It is. I was like, maybe she put the wrong I was hoping. I said maybe she put the wrong operation because I was hoping that this one right here, that multiplication was a plus sign.
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Wow. So we're still simplifying the expression. Okay. Now, here's the thing. All right. So so we could look at this as PEMDAS still, like you've been doing. All right. So what operations do you see?
Okay, so we have division. Well, yeah. Okay, so we don't have parentheses. We don't have exponents, but we do have division. We have multiplication.
Good.
We have addition. And we have subtraction.
Awesome. Okay. Now, what's easier to start with?
Well, I think the first thing we should do is scratch this out, throw the paper away, and just miss this question and hope we got all the rest right.
And since we can't do that.
Okay, so since we can't do that, I mean, normally you would want to work from left to right.
Okay. So is there, when you look at the division though, this is going to be really complicated. Correct?
Yeah.
So we're just going to hold off on this first.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah. So we know multiplication and division are equal. So it's kind of like when we had, like, let's say 5W plus 2T. Right. We couldn't really combine what was in the parentheses.
Right.
So we moved on to the next operation first, which was the multiplication. So let's go to multiplication first, just because that's the easiest here.
Right. For sure.
So, yeah. So what numbers am I multiplying together?
So 12 times 4.5W.
Okay. Oh, and I forgot to ask you, does your teacher let you use a calculator?
Oh yeah, it's college.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I hope so.
Oh yeah, especially when you start getting into things like this.
Right.
Okay, so 12 times 4.5 is, 54.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, with a problem like this, again, you're going to want to take it step by step. All right. Whew. You know, what makes this complicated? What makes it complicated is that there's no equal sign. It would be a lot easier if that plus was an equal. And so that you can get rid of that 4.5 in the denominator. That would make it a whole lot easier.
Sure would,
But
wouldn't
since we can't do that, okay. Now, did you learn how to split a fraction?
No.
Okay. So let me see. Okay, let me show you with just regular numbers, right?
Okay.
9 minus 3. Okay. So 9 minus 3 is what?
6.
And 6 divided by 3 is what?
2.
2. Okay, so we know the answer is eventually going to be 2. You can do this. You can break this down into 9/3 minus 3/3. Because don't we end up just subtracting the...
Sure.
Right? So we can actually break the fraction apart. And that's really going to help us here simplify this further. Because at this point, there's nothing we can do with the 54W or the -9 yet. Okay, so we're going to have to tackle this. And the way we're going to tackle this is to break down this fraction. Because 9/3 is really 3, right? 3/3 is 1, and 3 minus 1, we still get to 2.
Okay, yeah.
So even if we break this apart, we should still end up with the right answer. Okay, so that's just one trick, just to kind of help you with this very, very, very ugly problem.
Ugly problem. Right.
So 9. So we can break it down like this. Watch. Okay, so 9W over 4.5W. minus 3 over 4.5W.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And now we can just bring down the rest, but we're not really worried about the rest yet.
Right. We're just focusing on this ugly part first.
Exactly. So now, one thing at a time. 9 divided by 4.5.
That's 2.
Yeah. W divided by W.
That's 1.
Yep. We get rid of the W there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they go away.
Yes. So that's how that helped us. By splitting apart the fraction, we were able to get rid of that W, which is going to help us with that 9.
Right.
Okay. Now we still got this ugly one though. We didn't get rid of that. Now, okay, so let's start combining our like terms here. All right, so, and let me just see if this can help you out at all. Let's see. No, it doesn't.
No, not with.
I was like, maybe it can help you. No, okay. So, tell me what your like terms are. What can we combine?
So we have the 54W and the 4.5W, but I don't know
what else?
Combine them. And then we have the -9 and the 2.
Good. So I would go for the -9 and 2 first, just because the least complicated. So before you do anything else, I would personally start there just so I get it out the way. Okay. So 2 minus 9 is what?
That would be -7.
-7. Okay. So I'm just going to put this to the side. Okay. This is -7. Okay. Now, I just want to focus on this ugly stuff right here. All right. So the way we deal with a fraction, now you can reduce this. 3 does go into 4.5, but it really doesn't matter. It's still going to be ugly. All right. We know we're going to end up with something W.
Right.
So let's go ahead and put that. We don't know if it's going to be a plus or a minus yet, so we're not going to write that yet. Okay. So this just kind of helps us if we write it down over here. All right. So let me get all this other stuff. Oops. I thought I was right. Erasing. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So let's look at this. Now, if it was 3/4 plus 5, how would you do it? What do we need when we're adding fractions?
Okay, so we need a common denominator.
We need a common denominator. Okay. Now, I want to get rid of this decimal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't want to have a decimal as my denominator anymore.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to move this here. Okay. So right now we have 54 over 1, or just 54, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can I multiply by so that I don't have this ugly decimal here?
10?
4.5. You can multiply by 10, or what did we see before? 4.5 times what gave me 9?
2. Oh,
yeah. Okay. So we could just multiply by 2 just to help us get rid of, a little bit of that ugliness.
right. Okay.
Okay. We also, watch this. Now I have -6/9.
Right.
What does that reduce to?
Okay, so that would go down to 2/3.
2/3. Okay, that's a lot prettier
Yes.
to deal with. Okay, so now I have a -2/3. All right, I need a 3 here in my denominator. So what am I going to multiply the top and the bottom by?
By 3.
Yep. So we get a 3 on the bottom. What's 54 times 3?
Oh, girl, let me hit this calculator. 162. I'm not as fast as your previous guy.
You're fine. In 7th grade, we got to make them not use a calculator so they could start building that math mind.
Right. So
fine.
54. Let's see. So we said 54 divided or multiplied by 3, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 54 times 3, 162.
Okay. So we have 162. Let me get rid of all this other stuff. Let me move this over here. Okay. So we have -2/3 plus 162/3. So we're going to have something thirds at the end. -2 plus 162.
It would be 160.
Good. So I have 160 thirds.
Oh, that is
Okay. So ugly. Okay. So now, oh my gosh, when did I start writing slanted? That's, I was like, everything's just going to go. Go ugly. Everything's just going to be ugly. Let's just write slanted for everything.
completely understandable.
What in the world? Oh my gosh. Okay. So put that numerator in the house.
Right.
Okay. 3 goes into 16 how many times?
5.
Good. And 5 times 3?
15.
Awesome. 3 goes into 10 how many times?
3.
Awesome. And 3 times 3 is?
9.
Good. And 10 minus 9 is?
1.
There you go. Okay, so now we just make that a 1/3. I mean, you can, bring it down,
Sure,
and you'll see that it is a repeating decimal. So it's up to you how you want to write it. You could write 53 1/3, 53.3 repeating, however you want to write it. It's fine. But this is the ugly answer that we get.
Wow.
So you simplified it. Was this in a textbook or something? Because it's really ugly.
Yeah, it was an example on a review quiz, and it was the only one like it, and it was the last one. So there have been some issues with this curriculum, so I think it may have been left over from like a previous version of the curriculum. When I saw it, I thought, no, thank you.
Like, let's hope that never shows up.
I was like, please don't.
But the good thing is you do know how to now separate a fraction. Okay. Yes. So if you come across something that's like, 3n plus, or hold on, 4n plus 8 over 4, it's really going to help you. Well, tell me, how would I separate this fraction?
Okay, so you would separate the 4n and the 8. So you would have 4n over 4 plus 8 over 4.
4n. Oops. Sorry. Okay, say it again.
So 4n over 4 plus 8 over 4 or over 1? No, it would be over 4.
Tell me what it is.
It's over 4.
Thank you. Trust yourself.
It's over 4 because it's over 4. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, mathematically, this has to equal this. Okay. Yeah. The only way that I can change it is if they both have a 4 in the denominator.
Right.
Then that means I'm adding the numerators, which is going to get me back to the original. Okay. So now 4n divided by 4.
That would be n.
And 8 divided by 4
is 2.
Good. And let's say the problem was 4n plus 8 divided by 4 equals n minus 1, right? So you knowing that I can divide both of these by 4 is going to help you solve this problem. Can you see it? This was an awful problem. Let's say this. I just realized that would not work out. Okay. But this is how you would solve something like that. Now, you could always multiply both sides by 4, but then you end up with distributive property and all the things. So this just kind of helps you get there a little bit faster, breaking it down like that.
Yes, that does make more sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was, I highly doubt, I'm hoping that your professor would never give you something with a 4.5 in the denominator, but just in case he does, just in case he throws that in there. Hopefully.
I see you've met my professor.
Yeah. So hopefully by now, so how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I feel better now. It makes more sense. Yeah.
Good. So we did simplifying expressions. We ended with simplifying expressions. We did solving equations as well as evaluating expressions. Yes. Okay. So is there any of those 3 topics, because you said you're doing an algebra review before you guys move on to the next unit, right? So of those 3 topics, do you have anything that you want to go over a little bit more? I can make up other questions if you need, but if you're good, that's cool.
I think I feel pretty good. Like, I think, like you were saying, if I trust my intuition and I know what I need to be doing, if I just look at the problem and then break it down into the steps. And I really liked what you said about using the highlighters, because I think my brain does get a little bit overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah.
And so I'll be, halfway, 3/4 the way through the problem. And I'm like, wait, what was I doing? It's my math ADD kicking in.
Also, so tell me, in school, what was your favorite subject?
Oh, like English and reading and that sort of thing.
Okay. And then also, were you are you into the arts, like drawing or anything like that?
Yeah, like writing, drawing, painting, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was getting that from you. So I'm a very visual learner, which is as a creative, you're very visual, right? And so one thing that helps is That's why I have all those different colors
Mhm.
because we're very visual. And so when we see black words on a paper, black numbers on a paper, and it's all of this stuff coming at us, it can
Yes.
be very, very overwhelming. And at the level you are at, it's going to be a whole bunch of numbers and a whole bunch of
Yes.
stuff you've never seen. So what I like to do, and I teach my students this, it's a lot easier if it's printed out. I know everything's online now,
Mhm.
but take a piece of paper or with online, you can take your fingers,
Mhm.
take your
Yes.
hands, and just cover it so that your eyes focused on that one problem.
Yes.
And then write it down on your paper. And that's going to help you. Like even when I teach simplifying expressions,
Mhm.
I have my students use highlighters. So if we were doing something like this, I have my students go in and identify the like terms. So they would highlight in one color these like terms, right? Put
Yes.
those in a box. And then they would take a different color and highlight that. That helps my students so much, especially for my visual learners. It makes a huge difference. But the way most of us are taught math is like a lot of teachers, they're auditory learners. And
Yeah.
so they talk at you or they use words, but it's not very visual. And
Yes,
so
and I am very much more a visual, sort of hands-on. And I've noticed that I do better, like last week when you were going over problems, and this week being able to go over them step by step and say, okay, am I on the right track? Is it doing, am I doing the right thing? And being able to use those colors makes it so much easier for my brain to sort of separate them out.
Exactly.
So you're exactly right. It's almost like you're a teacher, Miss Moore.
Almost. And it's so interesting because our last guest, I got a message from mom saying, wait a minute, we spent hours on this at home. How did she get here? And then she gets it. Wait, hold on. What's going on? But that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here to make it plain, make it easy. I got this certification, so I'm putting it to good use because a lot of times we don't get that individualized attention we need in class. And so because we don't get that attention, our teacher is trying to teach to several different teaching styles and modalities that they're like, let me pick the easiest one. And hopefully everybody will catch on.
Right. And when you feel self-conscious or unsure about your skills in math or in any other subject, your teacher always says, like, ask questions, raise your hand. I can't help you if I don't know you need help. But it's hard to say, wait, I don't understand this, because you don't want to hold everybody else up, or you don't want your classmates, even in college, to look at you like, well, how do you not get this? Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, you know what? A lot of students, especially if they're taking algebra in college, they're in your same boat. So I want to allay your fears right there. And a lot of students, I always I say the same thing to my students, and they do feel comfortable asking questions. And when they do ask those questions, they're like, there's so many kids around that's like, thank you so much for asking that question, because I had the same exact one. And then people feel bolder to kind of speak up and say that. But I honestly think it's going to take you speaking up and saying, listen, I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to get the help I need, and I'm going to make sure I understand this. And it really helps the teacher to know, okay, I lost my students here. Like, if nobody says anything, that teacher's going home like, I did great. This is awesome. I'm killing it as a teacher.
Patting themselves on the back, feeling all good.
Right. Whereas all the other students are sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm so confused. So I want you to, I want to empower you, pass on some courage to, not be afraid to ask the teacher for help, because that's what they're there for. So make sure you're, speaking up, asking for help. I'm here, but you actually absolutely have the ability to do math, as you saw. Trust yourself. You know what you're doing. You absolutely do. It's starting to you had pieces of it.
Right.
And I could see it starting to click. You're like, oh, wait. Oh, and that's, so now it's kind of, you woke up that part of your brain and all of those pieces fit together. And now, you do know what you're doing. You'll pass this class. No issues at all.
I appreciate your confidence. It helps me feel better. I do feel like just in the last 2 weeks working with you and watching the video again from last week, I do feel like it's clicking now. Like last week I had that really amazing light bulb moment. And then, this week I feel like things are clicking. And as an adult, it's an incredible feeling to feel like I'm getting this thing that I never thought I could get.
Good.
I really appreciate your help.
Yay! You are so welcome. All right. Well, thank you. I am so happy that you were our first guest and that I could help you. Trust yourself and don't worry. Ask for help. And then if you ever need to come back. I got you.
I will do. Thank you so much. You have a
You're
great rest of your night.
welcome. You too. Well, all right, guys, this was a very exciting night. We were able to help 2 people learn math. I'm so, so happy about that. So if you ever need help with math, I am here for you. So we're going to close out tonight with one other topic. So let's do it. So I'm just going to teach you. Let's do 2-step equations, okay? So we did a little bit of equations tonight. What do I want? Yeah, let's do equations. So we did multi-step equations tonight. So let's do 2-step equations. So if we have a problem like this, and I'm going to show you why they call it a 1-step equation or a 2-step equation. Here it is. It's just like the name sounds, right? So if I have a 1-step equation, like x plus 4 equals 7. All right. You can look at this and know that, all right, x equals 3, right? But if this was x plus 41 equals 729, it's not so easy to see that. So this is what we do. We separate both sides of the equation like you saw me do earlier. We got to keep this thing balanced. All right, my final goal is going to say x equals some number. I need to know what x equals. Right now, there's this addition sign and this number here that's getting in our way. I have to move it. I got to get rid of it, but I can't just get rid of it. Okay, so I have to move it from one side to the other, right? So if I take away this 41 from the left side, all of a sudden my scale tips like this. I'm going to have to take away 41 from this side or from this side to make it even. Okay, so whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. I'm able to get rid of the 41 on the left side. I bring down my x and let's subtract. Okay, and so we get 688. This is called a 1-step equation because it took us 1 step to solve it. Okay, it is called a 1-step equation because it took us just 1 step to solve it. All right, now, if that was a 1-step equation, let's see a 2-step equation. So 2x minus 5 equals 41. Okay, so 2x minus 5 equals 41. Let's do it. So again, we separate both sides of the equation. I have a 2x on the left and a 41 on the right. They're supposed to be equal. They're supposed to be balanced, okay? But I need x by itself by the end of this. By the end, I want to say x equals. All right. Here's what I teach my students. We have a do and an undo chart. What are we doing to the x? In this original equation, what am I doing to the x? Well, first, I'm multiplying it by 2. Okay, so first I'm multiplying it by 2. We're going in the order of operation. Then after I multiply x by 2, I'm going to subtract 5 from it. Okay, well, to get x by itself, I'm going to have to undo all of this. To get x by itself, I have to undo all of this, okay? So what was the last thing I did? The last thing I did is subtract 5. So to undo that, I'm going to add 5. Okay? The first thing I did was multiply by 2. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 2. Okay, and now we have our 2 steps. This is called a 2-step equation because it's going to take me 2 steps to solve it. Okay, so I no longer need this do side. It's irrelevant. We know we multiplied by 2 first and subtracted 5. Now I have to undo that. So I am focused on this undo side, which is going to help me solve. Okay, so we're going to step 1, add 5 to both sides. Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So bring this down. We have 2x equals 46. I just completed step 1. Check. Step 2 says divide both sides by 2. Okay, I want this x by itself. It says 2x is 2 times x. So I got to get rid of that 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And 46 divided by 2 is 23. But let's say you didn't know that. Put that numerator in the house. 2 goes into 4. How many times? 2 times. And 2 goes into 6 3 times. And that's how we got 23. Okay. Now, you're not done because you need to make sure you didn't make a mistake. Okay. So we always check your work. So go back to that original equation. And does x really equal 23? Well, let's see. Let me plug it in. I'm going to replace this x with my answer to see, do I get 41? Well, 2 times 23, always check, guys. 2 times 23, 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. We get 46 minus 5 equals 41. Does 46 minus 5 equal 41? Yes, it does. Check. What's on the left balances with what's on the right. They are equal. Okay, so I know x equals 23 is the right answer. Let's try this again. (3x plus 12 equals 48. 3x plus 12 equals 48. All right. Draw your line to separate both sides of the equation. What is happening? What are we doing to the x? Remember, make your do and undo chart. What are we doing to the x? Well, first, we're multiplying it by 3. And then we're adding 12. Okay, well, if I want to get an answer that says x equals some number, I'm going to have to undo all of this. Okay, I got to get rid of this plus 12, and I have to get rid of this times 3. So we work backwards. How do I get rid of addition? How am I going to get rid of this plus 12? I have to do the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. How do I get rid of this times 3? The opposite of multiplication is division. Okay, and now, here we go. We're going to subtract step 1. So we no longer need the do side. We're focusing on the undo side. Step 1 in my two-step equation is to subtract 12 from both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side to keep it balanced. We didn't do anything to this 3x, so I'm going to bring it down. 12 minus 12 is 0. I was able to get rid of it. 48 minus 12 is 36. 3 times something is 36. So we just did step 1. Now I got to get rid of this multiplication and the 3. Step 2 tells me I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I get rid of the 3, so I'm left with x, and x equals 12. Awesome. I'm not done yet because I have to do my check. So let's check our work. Go back to the original equation. 3x plus 12 equals 48. Let me make sure that x really does equal 12. Plug it in. Replace x with 12. All right. 3 times 12 is 36. And 36 plus 12 is 48. And so now I know that my answer x equals 12 is correct. And I put that check there because I'm right. Okay. And so that's how you would do a one-step equation. We're going to try one more this time with a subtraction and also a division. We haven't done any division, so let's try that one. So we have x divided by 4 minus 3 equals 11. X divided by 4 minus 3 equals 11. Again, your do and undo chart. What are we doing to the x? In order of operation, I see division, I see subtraction. So what did we do first to the x? In order of operation, PEMDAS, we divided first. We divided x by 4 first, and then we subtracted 3. So I got to work backwards. So the first thing I'm going to do is the last thing I did. Instead of subtracting 3, I'm going to do the opposite. So we're going to add 3. Instead of dividing by 4, I'm going to do the opposite and times everything by 4. I no longer need this, and I'm going to focus on this side. These are my 2 steps for my 2-step equation. Draw the line to separate your balance beam. Step 1, add 3 to both sides. All right, they cancel out. I didn't do anything to this x divided by 4 yet. Bring down your equal sign, and 11 plus 3 is 14. That was step 1. Step 2 says multiply both sides by 4. And when I multiply both sides by 4, I'm able to get rid of this division and the 4. I'm left with x equals 56. I'm not done because I have to check my work. Go back to the original equation. X divided by 4 minus 3 equals 11. Let's see. 56 divided by 4. I'm just replacing the x with the 56. All right. Put that numerator in the house. 4 goes into 5 one time. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So I get 14 here. And 14 minus 3 is 11. Check, because my answer is right. Yay. Okay, so there we are. X equals 56. All right, so that is two-step equations. I hope that was helpful to you. The reason why we call it 2 steps is because it takes 2 steps to solve it, okay? Step 1 was plus 3, and step 2 was times 4, and I'm done, okay? First step, second step, solution. Done. Okay, so I hope those 3 examples were helpful to you, and I hope tonight you learned something. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful to you, seeing those students learn, seeing everything light up and everything start connecting for them. And if this helped you as well, let me know. So let me know if you struggled with any part of what we went over today, whether that was percents, multi-step equations, simplifying expressions, or evaluating expressions. Let me know if that was helpful to you. Like this video, subscribe, share, and like I said, every single Wednesday, 8 p.m., I am here live, and I'm here to help you solve one problem at a time. All right, I will see you next week. Bye.